Hello, as we welcome you to another installment of the Bethany Sports Beat. We're going to talk about women's basketball as the season is ready to begin this week as we do our taping. Don Westfall here, Director of Athletics at Bethany, joined by Lyle Jones, the head women's basketball coach for the college, and coming off a very successful season last year, third in the conference, losing out in a tough semifinal match, and then you come back this year and the coaches kind of think you're going to be back in the same spot again. I don't know if you like being the preseason pick at third in the conference or...
Well, you know, the preseason polls, I just kind of throw them up in the air. It depends upon how your freshmen perform, who you've lost, not only for our team, but for the opponents too in our conference. So I really don't put a lot of stock into them. It's nice to be ranked third, but we're shooting for number one.
You know, you're bringing back obviously some talented players in Haley Sandini, we're going to talk about a little bit, and Minnie Frederick. You lose Brianna Brandt, so there's definitely a change in the mix and the dynamics of the team and things like that. The idea of these before conference games, you're going to start this week, and you guys get St. Olaf tomorrow night, and a little bit next week as well. Get a few games in before Thanksgiving. Are you at a point that, despite the fact that there are some players coming back you knew about, is it still you still sense the transition going on with team and the roles and things like that?
Oh, definitely. I mean, we lost a great player with Brianna Brandt, just her leadership, and so getting that team to gel again, it's in the process, and that does take some time. But the influx of a junior college player and a few freshmen, the roles are a little different, and because of our talent that we have in our post now this year, which is interesting, we relied a little heavily on our perimeter last year. And so now the scoring is going to be spread around a little bit more. So everyone needs to get used to just the whole different types of sets that we're going to run and offenses. You
know, last year at this point, no one had heard of Haley Sandine. They might have been aware if they did some scouting, because Minnie is a local player here from Mankato coming back to the area to play. They're not going to sneak up on anybody this year. They know Minnie led the country in steals per game last year and things like that. How had those two players taking it to the next level where they're not going to be the surprise anymore, and people are going to kind of be going in after them and gunning for him defensively, trying to clamp down on them?
You know, we talked about that individually and as a group, that those two young ladies feed off each other, of course, and they need each other. And they know that they have to step their game up. They're going to have a target on their back, and everyone's ready for them. So it'll be interesting to see. I know they've done some work in the summer here, so they're up for the challenge, Don, and the whole team is, and they're ready to get after it.
You talked about the idea of maybe doing some more work offensively inside. Talk about some of the players that, even though you haven't played the first game yet, these are going to be some players that are going to give us maybe more of a physical inside presence than maybe we've had in the past.
Well, we have Brooke Henning from Worthington Community College coming in, and she's about a 6-footer, really strong young lady. Amber Schultz, who came out this year, and then we have Anna Balcom, who didn't play last year and then came out again this year. It's going to give us some really good leadership in that post area, and she's doing really well for being off a year. But I would say Brooke Henning, just the size, and she can step out and shoot the three, which a lot of post players can't, and she's very comfortable out there shooting it and also making the three. So they'll be real interesting there. And we also took Dakota, who was in the post last year, and we're moving her out to the three. So there's a lot of different positions that everyone's going to have to get used to. Taylor Schultz, I fit her in as a freshman, even though she's a sophomore academically. She was redshirted last year with a knee injury. Now she's coming back really strong and just giving us a huge punch to our offensive perimeter. So it's going to be nice to see her.
I get the sense as you talk about it that while there were some three key players that you can kind of look at last year, and Dakota Ellenheisen had a nice input in there as well, I get the sense there's a little more disparity and a little more balance in terms of maybe some of the offensive weapons you have.
There's definitely going to be more balance. We're looking at some different offenses, some different mixes and sets that we're going to run. And we do run some sets for different players. So it's going to be interesting. And that's the mix that we're trying to get now. Is I think this first game with St. Olaf here is going to help shake things out and kind of see where people are at, and so they kind of get used to each other.
Last question for you. Obviously, one of your trademarks has always been the pressure you try to apply in terms of a defense. It takes depth and it takes conditioning. Are you where you want to be at this point of the season, or is that still kind of in a work in progress?
That's in flux. I mean, we've got some major injuries coming into this game with about three starters, and we'd like to apply more full court pressure. That's going to probably come a little bit later. Half court, of course, we're going to be really getting after it, but being able to press, that's something we're going to have to work ourselves into until people get healed up here.
All right. Well, hopefully the trainers do their job and the athletes
Right.
do their job in the room. You get everybody back, and we'll see what transpires once we get into UMAC play. But once again, women's basketball, a lot of optimism on campus this year after a third-place finish last year in the conference, and we'll see what Coach Jones and the rest of the players can put together as we move through the women's basketball season. Lyle Jones, Don Westfall here on the Bethany Sports Beat.